Good morning, everyone. We're just going to give folks a few more minutes, or a couple more minutes, I suppose, to join, and then we'll go ahead and get started. We have a special White Cup guest joining us today. You can see Mike Edwards' face on the screen. Mike is coming back to us this week after having spent the week away last week getting married. So we're all very excited for Mike.
Thank you.
All right, we'll give folks maybe just one more minute to stroll on in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Whoopsies. All right, I am going to go ahead and get us started. Thank you all for being here. It's really exciting to see the number of squares on the screen grow a little bit every time we have one of these. And it's equally exciting to see some names that I don't recognize as well as I recognize some of the others. So thank you for joining us. You are here for Bi-Monthly Brew. I'm going to run through just a couple housekeeping things as I do, and then I'm going to mostly turn the mic over to Mike so that he can show us some stuff. So again, what this space is it's a place where we're bringing together our White Cup CRM and power users and admins to share what's working. It's a place where you can kind of pick the brains of your peers to better understand how they're leveraging White Cup CRM and BI in their businesses to achieve strong business results and outcomes. This is very much meant to be a community-driven conversation. Today, we're going to take a little bit of a departure from that because I know there was a ton of interest in digging into our marketing campaigns functionality and also our service ticketing functionality. And so for today's episode, if you will, we will spend some time kind of showing and telling because we know that there are quite a few of you out there who aren't using either of those modules just yet. So we want to make sure that you feel really well acclimated to those as you kind of make a decision as far as whether to implement those in your businesses. But typically, this bi-monthly brew is very much a community-driven conversation. This is not a great spot to make feature requests. Mike is on our product team, but we are not taking notes right now to kind of shape the future of our product roadmap. There are other vehicles that you can use to kind of convey those types of feedback nuggets, and we will happily welcome those. And this is definitely not a spectator sport. So please, 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 when you feel so inclined, come on off a mute and share your feedback, ask your questions, make sure that this is a valuable place for you. Again, just a couple housekeeping things. The best way to join the conversation, just so that we don't find ourselves kind of tripping over one another, is if you could just use the raise hand functionality. So you should see that in your reactions bar at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So if you just raise your hand, I will happily call on you just to make sure that we're not tripping over one another. I will also be spending a lot of time today in the chat, just kind of watching questions and comments that are coming through as Mike is kind of showing you around the service ticketing module and also marketing campaigns. So if you have a question and you're not comfortable coming off mute or you can't come off mute for some reason, go ahead and drop them in the chat and we'll be monitoring that as well. Um, and then just as always, at the very end of today's session, I'll do a quick kind of poll and ask you all to drop topic suggestions into the chat as far as things that you'd like to cover in the next bi-monthly brew. And so then after that, I'll take all of those responses, plop them into a follow-up survey that all of the folks who are registered for our bi-monthly brew series will receive. So then you can vote on the topic or the topics that we cover in November. So, um, this is just a quick reminder. We talked about this last time, but I just wanted to remind you all that this also exists. Within our support portal, there is now an online community space where you can all continue these conversations outside the context of these live bi-monthly brews. I know a couple of you have started up conversations in that community forum. Thank you, thank you. We'd love to see that. But this is a great place for you to get support from your White Cup peers when we're not meeting live face to face. Okay, so without further ado, we are going to dig into, like I said, the service module and marketing campaigns today. The way that we're going to structure this is we'll start with the service module, the service ticketing module. Mike is going to share some kind of overview information with us. He's going to show us kind of sort of what that feature and functionality set looks like in Whitecup CRM. And then we're going to kind of open it up for discussion and questions. So take it away, Mike. I'm going to stop sharing.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Kayla. And happy Friday, everybody. I think most of you, just real quick introduction. Let me get this shared real quick. One second. Uh, it's not my PowerPoint here. Okay, start it up. Okay, just a quick introduction before I get started. My name is Mike Edwards. I'm a senior business analyst here on the product team. Um,
Hey, Mike, we see your notes view.
oh, great. This is going well. Apologize. All right. One second. I don't know why it's in not presenter mode. One second. Sorry. Kayla, is there a way to take off the notes view? Oh, hi, presenter.
There you
Hmm.
go.
Can you see this better now? Or is it?
Um, this is fine. It's just that we see your full PowerPoint screen now.
That's fun. Okay. Well, guess
Okay,
we'll
improvise.
Yeah, we'll improvise as we go. Okay, so the way I'm going to structure this is I'm going to talk a little bit, starting first with the services module. You're going to listen to me talk here for a little bit about just some overviews here, as you can see in my PowerPoint, and then I'll jump over into our demo environment and kind of just touch on some of the areas and just do a quick demo overview of some of the areas I just talked about. So just to start with the services module, it is primarily used as like just your standard ticketing system, right? So your Whitecup CRM users can create and manage tickets that come in from customers, such as damaged items, incorrect quantity, maintenance requests. And these forms are obviously customizable within the form designer, like all other record forms in Whitecup CRM. So you can make things like fields required when you're creating cases in Whitecup CRM. You can customize the layout like you do on your accounts and contacts module. It's treated almost the same exact way as any other module within Whitecup CRM when you're building out your service module form. So let's just talk about quickly how tickets are typically created. We have customers who create them manually by creating them within the services module using the create button at the top left when you're on the form, with the typical use case here of being maybe someone calls in. They might say, hey, look, we have a problem. Well, your user can open up the services module in front of them and then fill out the form manually. We also have the ability in Whitecup CRM to embed service case web forms on your web pages, which is another common use practices our customers use. You can embed a service web form with specific fields on there. So if a user goes on your website, maybe they have an issue, something's broken, like I said, a quantity screwed up, they can go in there, they can submit the form through there, and then Whitecup CRM will handle the creation and association of the case and associate it to the correct contact or account based on the contact information they enter on the form. And this another additional way that you can also create service cases in Whitecup CRM, and I'll show this to you once I jump over there. And this is actually added relatively recently, I would say within the past 6 to 8 months, I would say, is the ability to create a service case right from a actual configured inbox. So for example, let's say you receive an email from a customer, which again, just to use the same example over and over again, maybe something's broken, like, hey, something's missing from my order. Rather than having your user navigate over to the service cases module through that tools drop down at the top, you can actually manually create the service case from within the inbox by just selecting, and on the inbox there, you can select individual emails there. And then at the top right, that more drop down displays. Well, within that more drop down, we actually added the option to create a service case manually using that. And then when the user selects that, it'll open in a new tab that create new service case screen with the description and subject and everything from the email already in there. It would just be on the user to just fill out the remaining required fields, and then they can select create that way. And then that email actually gets logged to that service case in the action history record. So just another cool way, like pretty efficient way that users can also log service cases. So, but now that the service case is created, then what? Well, what we see a lot of our customers commonly do is just build record created trigger workflows that automatically assign these service cases to like the assigned to reps, or as well as automatically generate some notifications around it. One thing I've seen too, which is pretty effective, is actually when a service case is created, actually creating those tasks, having our workflow system create those tasks automatically with a certain due date. And these could be based on maybe you have some internal agreed upon SLAs or for like first contact resolution, or maybe you have something with your customers that are contractually that you have SLAs. But it's just a good way to kind of track your tasks more effectively and wake up CRM and make sure that your first contacts and things like that are being handled accordingly. And as like any other module too, just to touch on service lists. Just like you can create account contact lists, you can also create dynamic or static lists as well for service cases. For example, say you wanted to build a list that shows only service cases assigned to a specific rep, or a list that only displays service cases with like a certain status. You can create them and also add them to your homepage dashboard widgets as well, using the services summary widgets that you can add there. And just to highlight some other common use cases that we have seen, equipment tracking, such as rentals, showroom models, etc. A ticket is entered for each piece of equipment and can be linked to an account for where that equipment is currently at. They can put dates for things like lease expiration, automate reminders as that is coming up. And secondly, just simple expense tracking. So for service providers, maybe they want to track some really simple expenses on a ticket to be able to sum up and report on later. So like during our implementation phases with customers, we've added fields for the different types of expenses, such as gas, hotel, food, and then a calculated field for the total. Just a super simple but really effective way to help them overcome a blind spot that they had today. So that being said, I'm going to jump just really quickly over to stop sharing this. Sorry to hop around on everybody here. Jump over to Wake Up CRM. All right.
I see that there's a question in the chat. Angela is wondering if there's anybody out there who's using this for equipment or demo tracking. Does anybody want to chime in there? Come off mute. Do we have anybody in the crowd who's using Whitecup CRM for those things? Angela, we can also take that offline using some of our user pilot data. We might be able to connect you with folks who we know are using the service ticketing module. So Mike and I can take that one too. Everyone
Yeah,
is shut. It's early-ish on a Friday. Makes sense.
it's the end of the week. Yeah, it's Friday. People are, okay. And some of you may have seen this before, but just jumping over to the services module here, as you can, hopefully everyone can see my screen correctly this time. So the services module is access to the tools drop down at the top here by selecting services, and it'll default you to, I'm logged in as a sales manager, so this might look a little bit different than your typical, sales rep or anyone who has cases assigned to them, but I can see everybody's services cases here. So when a person actually opens the screen, this is permission based. So they would see only the tickets that are assigned to them or group or associated group, just all based on permissions. So on the left side here, you just have your basic navigation, your ability to create a case, and this will pull up the form that you configured. On the left here too, so this is where if you want to create a web form, this is where you would do that at. And this is the web form I mentioned before in the slide where you can embed into your website. So users can go on your website and submit service cases that way. So just as an example here in a demo environment, this is kind of how it looks like, where you have a list of available fields. You can drag them over to the form, and then you have a preview here, and then you can generate the HTML to embed onto your website. So that's done on the left side there. And then as mentioned before too, kind of like, again, this is probably just, you probably have all seen this before, just the same layout, but on the left side here is service lists. this is where you would come in and create and manage your service list here. So like I mentioned before, your users can add these to your dashboard widgets. So that's really what I have for services modules. Kayla, is there any other questions in the chat regarding services?
I don't see any other questions in the chat, but I'm eager to hear if anybody does have questions. I know, and as you're thinking about your questions, I know that many of you are not using service ticketing, and that makes sense, right? Like you bought Whitecup CRM and BI to be more of a sales and marketing tool than anything. What we love about the service ticketing module is it's, one more value add, one more way in which you can get more value out of Whitecup CRM. So it's not surprising to me that there aren't a ton of you using this. But it also makes sense that you asked for this topic today so that you could explore whether this might be a viable solution for your businesses. So as you're thinking about that, what, if this is a module and a capability that's of interest to you, what else would you need to know about it in order to decide whether you could implement it successfully at your business?
And I would also like to know too, are there any other third-party applications you're currently using to track services? Is it SharePoint? Is it just post-it notes in your desk or what it might be?
Yeah, Katie.
So we just implemented using the services module last in the spring. And I think we're really leveraging the workflows to make sure that when a ticket is created, it flows through to the right people to have them have it assigned to them and to notify them. The We're using it really for tracking two things. One is if somebody calls in and talks to our technical support team. So it truly is really a ticket, like an issue ticket. But also our customer support is helping to log some logistics things, like if a shipment got messed up in some way or it was damaged or something that flows through. The workflows are really helpful. I think the biggest success that we had with it is because we put it on we really had the people who are going to be using it own the process. So they told us or they told me as I was building out the forms and the workflows, what they wanted, what they wanted it to do. And I made it like come to life for them. So they really had ownership over the process that we put into place for the first time.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Katie.
Thanks, Kate.
There are a couple comments in the chat. So Angela mentioned that at Relevant, they're using Freshdesk. And then Patty, I believe that you're with Brame. Correct me if I'm wrong,
Yes.
though.
Yep.
Awesome. And it sounds like they're using Service Fusion for equipment maintenance and repairs.
We use two different ticket systems. We use Service Fusion and we use Freshdesk.
Awesome.
Okay. Awesome.
For those of you that are using third-party solutions, does it ever cause hiccups internally for your sales team to not have visibility into those tools? Or maybe you've given them access to those tools?
I'll talk. I don't know where the raise hand went on
That's
my
okay.
Zoom, just talking. But we do have people who don't see it, especially with the Service Fusion, but they just ask for updates and we
Sure.
just throw it at them and say, this is what's going on. And in Freshdesk with the ticket system, if it's an IT ticket or a website ticket, then they get responses back. Service Fusion is a whole other beast in and of itself, so they don't see it. They just ask for updates and get them from the service team.
Sure. Anyone else have experience using the service module, the service ticketing functionality within Whitecup that they want to speak to? Or any other questions for Mike while we've got him here, if this is something that you're considering implementing? Okay,
But yeah, if any questions do come up regarding if you're thinking about implementing, you might just be too shy, don't hesitate to reach out to me directly as well. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. Cool. All right, let me switch back over to my not presenter mode PowerPoint here for everybody. One second. All right. Find it. Okay. All right. Can everyone see my PowerPoint here? Probably everything.
Yep.
All right. All right. So now we talked about service cases, as Kayla alluded to earlier. I'm going to talk a little bit now about focus more on our marketing module specifically. You might have seen this, some of the material that have gone out. You might have seen like the banner pop up on your with the last release we had on, I believe it was while I was out for my wedding week, but it was the 21st. You might have seen a banner at the bottom pop up on your screen, kind of highlighting an enhancement we just made to White Cup CRM called with the email campaign designer. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. So one thing we always ask ourselves, and probably I've talked to several of you now, we ask you guys as well, is how can we improve the overall user experience within our application, thus increasing like your productivity, the adoption of the application, improving your customer interactions and increasing your ROI as well. So one of the ways we truly felt that we could help accomplish this is through improving an area that we can help, we felt could help drive your sales and revenue, help strengthen your relationships with your customers, give you some measured results, and is extremely cost effective since it is actually an integrated solution within White Cup CRM, and that's with our email campaign designer. So I'm just going to touch first on what we did. So as you can see from the screenshots here, and you might be able to see it, it might be a little bit small. We took the older rigid email template builder that we had, and we built something that is just much easier, much more modern, and much easier to use overall, and more effective with additional features, and churned out an extremely efficient drag and drop campaign designer for you. And for those of you who may need a little guidance or may not have a devoted marketing team, we also introduced a way to have our AI within White Cup CRM generate email campaign templates for you to use as a starting point, kind of like a baseline. So that's similar to like ChatGPT. You can type in an input and have our AI generate you a template as a starting point. And from there, you can take that, what our AI generated, and then customize it to meet your business needs. And I'll show you that here in a little bit. But one thing we also want to do too, it's one thing to actually send out a campaign, but there needs to be some action, taken against them by your reps. So we've actually introduced 2 new default workflows for you. So the first is a workflow that you can customize to follow up with campaign non-responders. So these are recipients that have either opened the email but did not click any links you had in there, any buttons, or perform any actions within the email itself, and or recipients who did not open the email and you just want to follow up with them. So a common use case here would be maybe out of 50 recipients of the campaign, you have 5 who did not open the campaign email within 5 days of receiving it. Because of that, tasks are created and assigned to the assigned to reps to follow up with those recipients to ensure they saw the campaign and are aware of what's going on. The second is a workflow that is just the complete opposite of that. So, and this is following up with the high interest campaign recipients. These are the recipients that have received the campaign email and have performed an action such as clicking a link inside the body of the campaign email. So a common use case here is automatically generate a task and assign it to the assigned to sales rep to personally reach out and engage with that possible high interest contact. So I just want to talk a little bit. I talked about the what. I want to shift a little bit over to the why. We're introducing this campaign designer. So overall, we want to increase user adoption. We have received feedback from you and other customers that they would like to see overall improvements to our marketing module, specifically when it comes to building email campaigns. Adoption won't occur if we do not listen and improve. So obviously we want the highest adoption of all our areas within the application, but this is an area we have received the most feedback on to improve. Second thing, we wanted to have a fully integrated campaign designer. I've spoken to a few customers who are using a third-party application, such as maybe Canva or some other applications they might use to build their campaign templates. That could be obviously additional costs and additional steps to bring those templates into White Cup CRM. Although we do support the importing of HTML, and we still do with this campaign designer, and you can still use those third-party tools, we believe that we have built an effective tool that can alleviate the headaches of going back and forth between those applications. Self-explanatory, just increasing efficiency. You don't need the knowledge of HTML to use this tool. Some tools that are out there may require a little bit more knowledge of HTML and possibly CSS when building your templates, which can be kind of a pain. All you really need to know how to do here is be able to drag and drop, resize things in order to just build yourself an email template. And on top of that, like I've even spoken to customers who do have full-blown marketing departments and some who may not, or if it's like in its infancy stages. Whether you are an inside sales rep who wants to build a nurturing campaign or a member of a marketing team who is building a giant campaign to launch a new product, anybody can use this tool. So all in all, it was built after a lot of customer input. We were seeing a lot of interest around using our marketing tools, but not corresponding usage of the feature. And this was one of the top requests we had from customers. And before I get into showing you the tool a little bit, I want to talk about what's next, because just because we're releasing this does not mean we're stopping there. And some of you on this are going to see these and be like, wow, we've already talked about this. And I just want, this is reassurance to you that we are 100% going to be tackling these. We're listening to you and we're going to continuously improve. So first things first on here, I'm terming this not officially, but I'm going to call it dynamic sender for now. So this is the ability to send out campaign emails or any email from White Cup CRM for that matter, using an assigned to variable. What this means is although you may use our default senders, like a SendGrid account to send out a campaign, you may not want your recipients to see that it's from that bulk sender. So like right now, it's also like do not reply at, so-and-so.com. When the recipient receives that email, it'll just show as Joe Smith at, just use Lepco, Joe Smith at lepco.com versus the actual like bulk email sender. So just introducing an assigned to variable. The second thing is that's in the works is reusable content blocks. These are pre-designed sections of content like headers, footers, product showcase, call to actions, or anything in there that you can reuse and you don't need to recreate it from scratch. This allows some more consistency. So just say, for an example, I go in there, I create a template, and I can group a bunch of things together to use that I want to use later for building other templates. I can reuse those content blocks that we're adding, and they'll save like on the right side on that right panel. This is one I just wanted to reassure everybody of this one. I wanted to bring it up here because I figured it was kind of just forecasting that this question was going to be asked. Bounce handling. We are actively working on any bounce handling issues, anything associated to it. I just wanted to reassure everybody that this is on the short-term radar. We're going to fix this. Is in the process of being fixed and enhanced at the moment. So just stay tuned for updates on bounce handling. And then I've also received feedback about how account lists currently work when sending out marketing campaigns. So currently, I just want to explain the current logic first. So currently the way the logic works is when sending to an account list, it'll send it to every contact associated like down the tree of associated to that account. But we've heard feedback that the preference here is to possibly send to email addresses just associated to the account rather than all the contacts. So we're looking to add maybe just an additional option in there to be able to select which way you would like to send it out. Okay. And also too, before I jump over, if you have any questions, I mentioned this before, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns or things like that that you don't want to ask on here, continue to use the Knowledge Portal. We do check it. You can reach out to me directly. And I wanted to give a shout out to we have a learning and development person now, Jessica. She's fantastic. She's also learning. She wants to improve our content we're putting out there, especially for these newer features with videos. So I can put you in touch with her as well. She would love to hear some feedback from you about the content we have out there. So that being said, let me jump over quickly. I'll give you a very quick demo here. We jump back over to CRM. Okay, everybody see the screen? All right.
Yep.
Okay, so just to kind of to highlight here, so I opened, this is already a template I already had configured. This is with the new email campaign designer. As you can see here at the top left, you can preview. This will give you like a preview, so this is a computer monitor, obviously. So this gives you the preview on PC versus a preview on a tablet versus preview on mobile. So this is all a reactive email campaign designer. So regardless of of what device the user is receiving it on, this is reactive. It'll automatically resize it once they open from there. So this just gives you the option to preview. The most important piece of this is on the right side. This is where your drag and drop occurs. So just as an example here, I'm just going to click and drag in an attribute. And then from the right side, you can select, this gives you your entire list of attributes. We currently we did have that on the old email designer. We just, so we didn't, you're not losing any functionality here. I just wanted to show you kind of how to do it very quickly here. We do have all the attributes, obviously here on the right side, so you can add an attribute. We did make some improvements to adding images. So I'm just going to show you quickly here. If you click and add an image, we actually improved the UI and the experience of this. So previously, it was, you couldn't really, wasn't very good at like previewing images and kind of showing you what you're inserting. But what we did here is now this pulls up by default all your images that you have within Whitecup CRM. And then when you expand it down, you can actually see a preview of the image of what you're adding. And you can also search for it
Hey,
by
Mike,
following description. Oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
there's a question in the chat. Are those attributes only from the contacts module?
Yes, these are based on the selected record type. So, so if I select contacts, and that has been something that has come up in the past before about being able to have account related attributes. I should have added that to the what's next slide, so I apologize. That's a good call out. Being able to add account related attributes to contacts, vice versa. But yeah, so right now it's based on what record type you have selected.
Awesome. And then there's one more question. Image scaling didn't work in the old version. Has that been corrected?
Image scaling, is that the issue in turn? Are those the linked images issue? Just to clarify, or is it just an overall overarching? I know we had an issue specific to linked images, but we did make a fix recently to fix that. So I don't know who asked the question, but let me know if it's still an issue, but I think we did fix that.
Neil, I'll let you go ahead and come off mute if you'd like. No, uploaded images were the problem, he said.
Uploaded images. So images that you're uploading directly from your.
So like that example right there. Can you show how to, like the image that's in the header of that email right now that you're working on? Can you show how you would go about scaling that?
In terms of resizing it?
Yeah.
Yes, this
Neil,
is, yep.
I'm not sure if that addresses your question or concern, Neil. If you want to come off mute and chime in, you're welcome to. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on, but if we need to touch base offline, oh, okay, he can't come off mute, but it
Okay.
looks like it does address the problem. So thanks,
Okay.
Mike.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so yeah, over the right, and I'll just cover some of the additional functionality we added over here, as you can see. So being able to add things such as buttons, dividers, text boxes, sections, quotes, links, and then even like the additional layouts like 3-section, 2-section column layouts and things like that. So I just wanted to touch on those. And like I said before, just obviously the improvement we made to adding images. And then also wanted to show you, so let me go here real quick. Okay, so at the top left here, the navigation's still the same. So you get this little icon here, it looks like a paper airplane. But now that we added AI, as I mentioned before in the slide, we give you 2 options to select from here. First, so right now I'm in custom because this was just a custom created email template. But if I select AI and hit create, as you can see, it adds a couple additional fields here. So in the description field, this is where you would insert your prompt here. So if I said as an example here, build me a campaign for, I can't spell, build me a campaign for a end of the year sales event next month. And then I can just put a subject in, end of year event. And then we also provide out-of-the-box tones, professional, friendly, informative, and action-oriented. And we could build up based on your feedback too. We could build on these tones, but when we're fed our model, these are the 4 tones that we focused on at the moment. So let's just say I want to keep it informative. Hit generate text. And what it'll do is it'll give you just kind of like I kind of mentioned before, I'll give you like a baseline template to start from, but it would obviously be on you to come in here, make the changes that you feel are necessary, add your images. It will add some attributes, like as you can see here at the top, it added first name. We are continuously improving this engine, so we'll make some improvements to this as we go. But overall, it's just a good way to, as a starting point, and then you can save these templates and you can duplicate them and use them for later and things like that. And then, so that's the AI piece, excuse me. And then just to go over to, I think I already have it up here. So this is a new default workflow you'll see on the screen here. This is the default workflow I mentioned for non-responders. So I'll open this up. And this is actually a new action that we have created. So using the campaign launch trigger, we have a wait step for wait for 1 minute. And then this is the most important piece. This is the action. This will you can choose either one or both here, but you can include contacts who did not open the email or include contacts who opened but did not click. And then what we did here is we just have an action that's built with a subject description assigned to the association ID and things like that. But again, these workflows are all just out of the box for you. You can customize it however you would like. And then also too, just to show you the other default workflow, this is the complete opposite. So when a campaign email is clicked, and you would have to build these right now. You have to build these for by individual campaign. But for this instance here, when a campaign email is clicked, create a new action to follow up. Same concept where it's, we have a subject description assigned to the due date, the association ID, and the association type. So just another really neat default out of the box workflow for you. Okay. And I'll highlight this as well. Wasn't in the slide. I forgot about it. Under templates here, I did build just some default out of the box templates too, like default clearance event email campaigns. You can use these as well as a starting point, and you can copy these and duplicate them if you wish and customize them to meet your business needs as well. Okay. But that's all I got for you. Is there any questions in the chat, Kayla?
I don't see any questions in the chat, but happy to field some if folks do have questions. One of the things that's most exciting to me about all these changes and enhancements that Mike just shared with us is that I think, to be honest, I feel like we have been a little bit surprised internally about the amount or the extent to which our customers are using and clamoring for these marketing related features. We all, we built Wake Up CRM with the intention of it being a CRM, right? A tool that would fuel sales. But I think it's been really exciting for us to watch how the adoption of Wake Up CRM within all of your organizations really has started to, or in some cases, like Katie, for example, I know that your adoption of Wake Up CRM is actually starting on the marketing side of the house. So that's been really exciting for us to watch. And I think that all these evolutions that Mike just walked us through are exciting in that regard. What else would you like to see, or what questions do you have? What can we further clarify for you around the marketing campaigns? Yeah, Katie.
Well, I'm excited about the addition of the drag and drop because I do not know any sort of code. But I can assure you that we have a lot of applications that we are looking forward to doing over the next year. So I will test it heavily, and I will provide good feedback.
Great.
You always do. Thanks, Katie. And then there's a note from Patty. They are looking to move from MailChimp to Wake Up CRM marketing campaigns. Mike, maybe you could follow up individually one-on-one with Patty. She's just asking if they could have a one-on-one meeting just to make sure they have what they need to kind of make that switch.
Okay, I'll make a note here.
That's exciting, Patty. Thanks for dropping that in the chat. What else? You all asked for these topics. Yes, the name on the screen says Cole, but I think, Roger, it's actually you. Whoever from Calico, go ahead and come up.
It's me. It's Roger. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I got a question on the templates in the campaign. So we're not ready to shift from constant contact. That's what we use today. We get that, it's built, the system, it gets to every customer, every contact. Today, what we do, there's an HTML template that we use, and then we typically will have a call to action, and the call to action would be a link to a PDF that would be a sell sheet. Is there a way in the interim, before we're able to really dive into being able to completely switch over to doing the doing the artwork and creating the document within Whitecup? Is there a way to load our HTML that is complete with that PDF document? So a sales rep, because what I like, and I think what's great is that it would be all integrated, of course, into the CRM. And I don't know, I don't think it works today with Constant Contact, but if there's a way that we could take and get that template complete with the PDF so that the reps could easily select it, because that's what we do. We do, the marketing team sends it out to everybody, and then each individual salesperson targets their customers based on the specific sell sheet or whatever it is that we're trying to promote that week.
Can you actually send me directly? Can you send me that use case over? I want to take a closer look at it and make sure that's something that we can meet. I know the importing of HTML for your templates is pretty self-explanatory, but it's that second piece with the PDF that I want to take a closer look at. So can you send that to me directly?
I sure will, Mike. Thank you. Sounds
Thank
great.
you.
This might be dangerous. I think all of you already have Mike's email address, but I just dropped it into the chat in case you don't.
Hey, Mike, I have a question. We use Constant Contact too, and users can opt in and out. How does that work inside of Whitecup?
Yeah, so we have that capability as well. That is configured by, I believe that's an ad. I believe that it used to be handled through a variable, but I think that's handled through the admin. But we do have the ability to, we have 3 different options. I think it's opt out of all, opt out of marketing, and opt out of say, or I believe sales. I have to double check that, but yeah, we have that capability. I know we just made a change to it recently, so I'll have to double check on where that's located now.
Okay, and that's the recipient gets that option, right? They get a campaign and they get these options. They hit it, respond, and it automatically gets updated on their contact.
Yes, so there will be so once they opt out of an email campaign, there's a field on those individual records called do not email, and it'll say yes on there. So you'll see that they opted out of it.
All right, thanks.
And then correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but all of those contacts then get added to a list, and then that just becomes your suppression list for future sends. So
correct. It's added to a default suppression list that we have, a system suppression list we have in Wake Up CRM.
Cool. Great questions. What else you got? Nothing? Edward is sharing in the chat that he's getting an error when he tries to upload a photo. You can look in the chat, Mike, to see if you can open up that error. Maybe you have some immediate read on why that might be happening.
What kind of, my first question would be, what kind of image is it? Is it a PNG? Is it a JPEG? Or I just want to make sure it's a. Let me take a screenshot actually before it goes away.
Yeah, that seems odd to me, Edward, and it feels like something that we could troubleshoot with you one-to-one offline.
Yeah, most common causes of something like that would be an unsupported file type, which I probably would not be, or if there is like a file size limit, if you're trying to insert an image that is crazy, crazy big.
So I'm not
we would
recommend. I was just dragging and dropping the image to put it there in the email body, and that's the error screen that I get when I try to do that.
Oh, so you dragged and dropped the content block itself in. That's what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I took a screenshot of it. I have not seen that error before, so I will take a look. I'll pass it on to our support team.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Edward. And then Patty, that's a great question. What should the file type be, Mike? If you're importing an image, do you recommend a JPEG or a PNG?
I would recommend JPEG or PNG. Those are pretty much your standard images. We have gotten, I believe there are certain other file types when it comes to like image diagrams and spec sheets and things like that. I don't know if the designer would support those, but yeah, I would just say JPEG and PNG are the recommended file types.
The safe bets. Yeah. Awesome. Any other questions out there about marketing or service ticketing? Okay, we've got a few minutes left. Are there other topics that y'all would like to chit chat about with your peers? Okay, hearing none. Before you drop off, I would love it if you all could take just 2 seconds and drop in a topic suggestion in the chat. And then, like I said, after this meeting, just like always, you will get a follow-up email. Dave, great question. Dave is asking how you all can get a recording of today's meeting. It will be included in the follow-up email that I send out, and it will also be posted to the new community hub within our support portal. So you can get at it in either of those places. Patty, yes, totally get it. It's easy for those questions to slip your mind when you're actually on the spot and have the opportunity to ask them. That's a great use case for our community forum. So as you come up with those questions, feel free to start those conversations within our support portal. Please drop in topic recommendations for our final bi-monthly brew of the year. Our next one, so typically these happen on the last Friday every other month, but because the last Friday, oh my gosh, I'm struggling. The last Friday of the month in November is Black Friday. We obviously won't have it that day. We'll push it a week earlier. So it will be on November 21st instead of November 28th. So please go ahead and drop your thoughts on topics for that session in the chat before you log off. But again, just can't tell you all how much I appreciate you being here and continuing to join us for these sessions. These are really great. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yep. And Edward, real quick before we hop off, can you type in what company you're with, just so I should know at the top of my head. I just want to make sure I took a screenshot. I'm going to reach out to our support team right after this meeting. I want to make sure it's supplied in. Perfect. Okay. So we might need to impersonate you just to make sure so we can troubleshoot. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.